Thank you for watching a live edition of East West Football Podcast. I'm Fidel Barraza. Alongside with me, like always, Jerry Martinez, Kendall Whitley. What's going on, guys?
Pump, man, pump, right? I mean, what Monday is the legal tampering period?
Monday it is, but a lot of these deals probably already done came together now. This past week at the combine, Sunday night, you can start hearing some stuff on Monday. But yeah, Monday is the legal tampering. Deals won't be official to the 15th, which at 4 p.m. Eastern time Wednesday.
Yep. So we have a lot going on. Lamar Jackson being tagged, right? So I mean that's a story of its own. Is he going to be a Baltimore Raven starting in 2023 when the season starts? You got the New York Jets traveling across the country to California to visit perhaps their new quarterback in Aaron Rodgers, and we got Daniel Jones getting a new contract. So a lot going on.
Lots, and there's a storyline in between each one, right? Because I mean, I don't know which one do you guys want to go with first, right? I mean, you guys pick, and then we just bounce off of each other.
I mean, there's more than that. I mean, you got Derrick Henry being potentially on the trade block. I mean, who saw that coming?
That's crazy. Are they in full tank mode? That's the biggest question.
I'll start. I'm gonna go with Daniel Jones. He just got a big deal. What was it yesterday? Then they just tagged Saquon. I heard they already working on a deal with him. I don't think he's worth all that money. But who am I to be? I mean, I want everybody to get their money, but come on, man. Anybody with a mind, that's a little too much. But you think that one's a lot? Just wait till you see the quarterback deals next year. Like it's crazy, man. I don't think he's worth all that. Yes, he did get them to the playoffs. They beat the Vikings. A lot of people picked them to beat the Minnesota Vikings. But we're gonna see, man. Brian Daboll came ready this past season. Did a pretty good job with them. I like to see them. I mean, they gave him a lot of money, but can they build a team around him? Get them some wide receivers, man. They cut Kenny Galladay. Shepard's a free agent. Get him a wide receiver, man. Get him a couple of wide receivers. I think you'll get even more out of Daniel Jones. But we're gonna see if he can live up to that contract.
What you said, I think you kind of hit the nail on the coffin, right? But I do think that contract is eerily similar to the one that the Dakota Prescott got with the Dallas Cowboys. So I believe his average salary is going to be about, I don't know, they're saying about 40, but the first year it'll hit like the way it did with the Dak this year, come in at 19 mil, but then from there it just boom, it's going to hit that spike at 49, 52, and then it hits the downward on the fourth year. So, some questionable calls there. I think if anything, when you look at the Baltimore Ravens, I think I wish I could have coined that little conspiracy theory first, right? Because it's pretty interesting, man. I think the way the Ravens kind of playing this out with Lamar Jackson, right, letting the rest of the NFL kind of dictate his market so they can pay him. I will tell you this, regardless of what. Yes, Lamar will be a Baltimore Raven. Whether he chooses to play, that's another story, which is something to be closely monitored to. But I will say this: is that relationship between the Ravens and, I'm just saying, Lamar Jackson is that relationship, and are they in bad terms now going forward?
Well, I mean, you would have to think they're not in good terms, or else they would have a new contract, right? So. A couple things. One of them being is that, hey, Lamar, go ahead and try to sell yourself to another team. That way you can see that no one is going to want to give you a fully guaranteed contract. So that's number one. The other one being is that they probably know that no one's going to offer him a contract, and they want someone else to kind of do their homework for them. So that way Lamar can come back to Baltimore and say, hey, let's just say the Jets. The Jets offered me this kind of contract. What can you offer me? Well, guess what, Lamar? We'll give you $10 million more, and we'll be done. So that's the other thing that could possibly going on.
Yeah, like, I mean, what you said. I wish I was the one that coined it first, right? But I don't. Sometimes mainstream media or sometimes.
And here's the other thing,
creator that just comes up with it. Go ahead.
He doesn't have an agent. It's more difficult for him to get this kind of deal done because when you have an agent, they're in charge of that. They're the ones that are calling teams. Teams are calling the agent, and unfortunately, and I'm not saying unfortunately because he should have an agent, but in this kind of situation, it would be a really good idea to have one.
I mean, but he's trying to keep all that money, so what's so?
And I understand. I'm not against anybody, keeping all their money.
Yeah, there's been rumor that the Falcons would be interested, but then I know we seen yesterday a lot of teams came out and said that they weren't interested, but that's another conversation for another day. That was a little strange there. But I think we're on the Falcons not being Falcons were interested now, they're not. If he was to go to Atlanta, we all saw what happened when they had Michael Vick or whatnot. But then they was in the running for the Deshaun Watson last year. And that team has a lot of cap space. So I think it'd be a good fit if he would have if he go to the Falcons. But ultimately I think like Jerry said, whether he like it or not, he's probably gonna be in Baltimore, at least this year.
I mean, no, who's going to want to give up 2 first rounds and then a fully guaranteed contract to somebody that hasn't even got to an AFC championship?
Well, I have a team, but unfortunately for them, they don't have a first round draft pick this year, and that's the Miami Dolphins because of the whole tampering with Tom Brady and Stephen Ross was Sean Payton. They got that number one round draft pick taken away, so they don't have one. So if Lamar does want to talk to Miami, he's going to have to wait till after the draft.
I will tell you this, just to kind of revisit the topic that how Kendall started it, right, which is with Daniel Jones. Do you guys think that maybe perhaps the Giants are following the blueprint of the Dallas Cowboys? Because at this point, the way it's trending, they had to get a deal done, so they went ahead and said, you know what, bringing in this new coach, he was able to get Daniel Jones to do some things on offense. Let's give them the 4-year deal, similar, and then whatever the Cowboys do, we're gonna go ahead and mirror what they've done because they've obviously built up a contender team in the NFC East, and now we're looking. It looks like Dak's contract is going to be revisited pretty soon, and that contract might be redone in the middle of the night. They say. So that's my question to you guys.
I do.
You do think so? You think they're following Cowboys?
Yes, I do. Why not?
I mean, it's a legit question. I mean, I think when you look at it, I mean, the only thing is Daniel Jones only has one good year. With Dak, he came in, he had a sensational rookie season.
When you look at the contract they got for Daniel Jones, it's really the first 2 years that are really guaranteed where he's getting the most money. So I think after about 2 years, I don't think he's the long-term answer for New York. It was with a 4-year deal, but the first 2 I think is fully guaranteed. So I think after the next couple of years, I don't think he'll be with the Giants or whatnot. I think they can get out from that contract.
I don't know if I would have paid Daniel Jones that amount of money he got. And I understand that Brian Daboll probably thinks he can make him better, and he might be able to, right? I mean, who did Daniel Jones really have at wide receiver? Not really anybody.
I got this from Javier, so I'm getting a shout out to Javier Zuniga, right, from Cowboycast. He says, if they re-sign him, I think Brian Daboll they're fully in with Brian Daboll and they're getting him the players that he wants. And maybe perhaps Brian Daboll said that this is my guy at quarterback, and I think that this is kind of like one of those situations where Brian Daboll is kind of like taking the lead, taking the charge. But dang, if that ship goes down, man, everybody's gonna be a part of that Titanic when it sinks. I'll tell you that much right now.
Yeah, no, I mean you got to think that they're gonna kind of sign a wide receiver, draft a wide receiver this offseason. So that's definitely gonna help out Daniel next season.
They had to keep.
I think he only had 15 touchdowns throwing, and then 7 rushing touchdowns. And they tagged Saquon.
And they got a lot of cap space, so they can build a team in the draft or in free agency. They can put some pieces around them. That's what they're gonna need. Just to get the most. Just look at Tua, Tyreek Hill, Waddle. Look at Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Burrow, Josh Allen. You seen the performance out in that 3rd year of the quarterback. I know this is Dean Jones' 4th year, I think, with the Giants. Like, you got to build around them, man. Just build around them and just see what you can get from them.
Yeah, and then speaking of quarterbacks, this quarterback is still trying to decide what he's going to do. Is he going to play? Is he going to retire? Is he going to request a trade? That quarterback being Aaron Rodgers. So it looks like some teams are out on Aaron Rodgers. So essentially, it's only either he's going to retire, he's going to be a Packer, or he's going to be a New York Jet. So the team traveled to California to meet and greet Aaron Rodgers, and they flew back. Aaron was not on the plane, so everyone's still trying to figure out what exactly Aaron Rodgers is going to do.
It's crazy, man. I know the owner went there, Joe Douglas went there, Nathaniel Hackett used to be his OC, and
Full court press.
Yeah, former the Broncos, and then now the OC. He used to be the OC of for Rodgers in Green Bay. They all went down there and they all came back without Aaron Rodgers. So I mean, it's crazy, man. We know Rodgers. He can be a stranger guy. He makes decisions on his time. He does what he wants to do. That's what Green Bay's been putting up with for the past few years. I don't see a scenario where he can go back to Green Bay because essentially, if you're Green Bay, you let him go talk to somebody. You're not going to let him Why would you let him go talk if you want him back? And then from Rodgers' standpoint, he's probably he can be sensitive, so he's probably feeling like, well, if they're letting me go talk, they don't want me back. I don't see a scenario where we can go back to Green Bay. I really don't know what you guys think about it. How can you go back after they letting you go talk to somebody? It seems like Green Bay is ready to move on to Jordan Love. But I can't see him go back to Green Bay. Now I'm not gonna go all in on the Jet. I do think something's crazy. I thought the deal would have been done by now. Maybe it gets done next couple of days. But I don't see a scenario where he can go back to Green Bay, burn something last minute. But I don't see it.
That's a lot of money, so I can see him going back to Green Bay. The bonus, essentially, it's in his court.
I honestly, I'm gonna just chime in. Why Jets? Why? I mean,
well, he gets that money even if he's not with Green Bay, though, right?
No. Well, I mean, look, essentially, the team would have to eat up some of the money, but they would have restructured it. But the most money he would get if he stays in Green Bay. But here's the other thing, Jerry, you're asking why. Well, let me tell you why. Because Woody Johnson, the owner of the Jets, wants a veteran quarterback there. We saw the disaster at that position last season with Zach Wilson and Mike White and Joe Flacco. You think he wants that product out there on the field? They should have made the playoffs. They should have, but with the quarterback struggles, they weren't able to.
The thing is with A-Rod, we saw, man, he's on the decline. It was like towards the end of the season where he got his ayahuasca or whatever you want to call it, that herb or whatever, and he started playing good again.
Opioid or whatever.
Yeah, whatever it is. And then his what is that? I mean, his 5 days of complete dark solitude. Like, I mean, number one, why show off about all that stuff? Keep that to yourself and just go do it by yourself, man. I don't care. This is football. I want to talk about football. I don't want to talk about you going into a 5 day dark binge. You know what I mean? Like, that stuff doesn't interest me. But I understand there always has to be a bad guy, right? Because there's too many good guy personalities in football, and that's exactly what Aaron Rodgers are. But I will ask, the reason why I asked that question is, can A-Rod make the Jets a Super Bowl contender? Because the AFC is the toughest division in the entire NFL, period. Point blank.
Well, my thing right now is, okay, I think he can make him a competitor, a contender in the AFC. But, I mean, you look at Rod, he's only going to be in New York probably 2 years. Let's just say 2 years. He's 30.
That's it. It's a 2-year deal.
He's 39.
Probably 2 years only.
What is he, 39, 38, 39, whatever he is? He's okay, like Jerry, I think he is on decline. He played a couple bad games last year. I remember one game against the Titans on Thursday Night Football, I believe. It wasn't a good performance. He's on decline and whatnot. And that division, AFC East, you're talking about going to Foxborough, playing New England twice a year, playing Buffalo twice, playing Miami. Like the AFC, the whole AFC as a whole is competitive and tough. I think, and then we didn't even talk about this. What about the compensation? What's the Packers going to get from the Jets? First round pick, maybe a second round pick. I mean, because they got to take Aaron Rodgers off their books and whatnot. Yeah. So I don't think they just give him up.
Well, no, I mean they're going to get a draft pick, and it's probably going to be a 1. But here's the other thing.
I think maybe a draft pick and a player.
I think a rejuvenated Aaron Rodgers going to a really good team. I feel like the Jets have. They got a lot of young talent there. I think he would make a huge difference for the Jets, especially with that defense.
What do you do with Zach
trigger
Wilson?
Man.
What do you do with Zach Wilson, though?
On the bench.
Cut him?
No, I mean, if Aaron gets hurt, something happens, and we've seen Aaron get hurt before, then, hey, guess what, Zach? It's your time. You can come in and see what you can do.
He's the second overall pick in the draft. Less than. I mean, this is year 3.
They did say they want to bring in a veteran and have Zach on the bench and watch the veteran. They did say that.
Let me just say this: they would have not traveled to California yesterday if their intentions were not to try to trade for Aaron Rodgers. If they trade for Aaron Rodgers, he's going to be the starting quarterback, and I think we all know that, right? So, I mean, look. Saleh's job might be on the line. He missed the playoffs this season. What is this year 3?
I will say this with Robert Saleh, I think they probably would be a little bit more forgiving because he did what a lot of teams would not do. He cut ties with his offensive coordinator when he just didn't like the performance.
I don't know if that was him or that was the owner saying like, "Hey,
Well,
someone's got to pay for what happened last season." So
I mean,
who am I to say it was Robert
as
Saleh's
above, so
decision?
below. Remember that saying.
hey, with this another twist to it. Let's just say we talked about this pre-show. What do the Jets do if they don't get Aaron Rodgers?
It's a great question. I mean, it's a great question. You're stuck
What
with
do they
Zach
do?
Wilson.
Jimmy Garoppolo, Jameis Winston, Lamar Jackson. I mean, what do they
Zach
do?
Zach Wilson will not start for this team next season. He will not unless someone gets hurt. Jimmy Garoppolo would be the other option.
Still, Mike White, he's still there.
Well, I mean, because there's so many storylines that we can go with. Because I
But
have
Mike
this
White
I had this
isn't he a
feeling
free
that
agent?
I feel like
I
Jimmy
don't.
G. I feel like Jimmy G is going to be a Houston Texan next year.
Mhm.
That's just my gut feeling. And the reason why, obviously, the ties to the 49ers and D'Amico. I mean, he could be a bridge for that quarterback if he chooses to, go quarterback with his second pick overall. Or are you going to start your
I think he
second
would
pick?
go quarterback.
Yeah.
You
What's
start your
that?
second pick. You got a young team.
But I'm just saying, at this point, some people are very judgmental about this quarterback class. Now, don't get me wrong. I like what I saw with CJ Stroud. It would have been nice. I know people are very happy with Bryce Young's measurables, but CJ Stroud looked really nice in the combine. So we'll see. I'm just saying, do you really want to throw a rookie quarterback out there and him to learn from, the wildfire, or you try to tell Jimmy G, hey, come on, man, come on down over here, because you really think that Jimmy G can make the Jets a Super Bowl contender? Let's just be honest.
They're better than Zach Wilson.
If he can stay on the field.
you both kind of basically said, I don't know.
No,
It's
I said he's better than Zach Wilson.
it's all
If he can
stipulation
stay on
based.
the field, if he can stay on the field,
I'm just
yes,
saying.
it's
I'm
without
just
a
saying.
shadow of a doubt.
Next
Well, what do you
year's
do in San Francisco with the good defense? He took him to an NFC championship. He took him to the Super Bowl. So he's capable of taking a team there. And I believe
He
the
also
Jets
was
defense
hurt
is
every
that
year
good.
too.
Well, that as well. Well, besides that one throw, he overthrew Emmanuel Sanders in Super Bowl. But that's a old story.
I believe he got hurt that year a couple of times.
Well, I mean, by that time, everyone's hurt. No one's 100%. Look at Patrick
true,
Mahomes. It was hurt.
all true statements. I mean, jeez, man. But I'm just saying with Jimmy G, I think Jimmy G has to look at himself in the mirror and just say, can he get any better? Because I think he's, like so many people want to give me crap for the Cowboys, right? And then I don't care. I'll eat the crow, right? Has Dak reached his peak? You know what? I think at this point we've seen the best of what we have with Dak. But let me ask you guys the same question. With Jimmy G, has he reached his cap? Like his ceiling? Have he as a
I
quarterback?
think he has. I think he has.
So at this point, I think that Jimmy G needs to just kind of
The
go
ceiling's pretty
and see
good.
if he can. The what?
The ceiling's pretty good. He went to the Super Bowl.
But I think at this
Again,
point we know what Jimmy G is. I mean, he's going to get hurt. He's going to make some plays. He can get you to playoffs with a good team, good defense, good supporting cast. But I think we've seen the most of what Jimmy G going to get you.
not to mention, man, the New York Jets fan base is the most ruthless fan base out there, man. I mean, they're up there with Raider Nation and who else? What are what other fan bases out there?
The Eagles.
Eagles.
Eagles,
I mean,
Cowboys too. They're out there
can you
too.
imagine? Yeah, the Cowboys can be very toxic, but I will say this, just think about what it does to a quarterback and his psyche. You go to Houston, bro. Houston's gonna love him. They're gonna accept him, and you know what? He'll probably even play better, man. And I bet you with D'Amico, he could turn the Texans thing around in less than a season. I think within one season, he'll have that whole team manifested and all head in the right direction. You know what? With the Texans, he probably would be maybe right there battling Trevor Lawrence for the AFC South. Maybe they both will be representing the AFC South in the playoffs. That's what I'm trying to get to. Get what I'm saying, Kendall?
Yep, and I think because in that division, Ryan Tannehill, don't know what they're gonna do there. I know the owner came out and said that
They're
Tannehill's the future. He's
they're in
there.
tank mode. You heard that here first on East West Football. They're in tank mode.
I feel the Colts are a quarterback away. The Jaguars, they got a lot of cap like they always do. Every year they go out spending money. And Trevor Lawrence. And speaking of Jacksonville, Calvin really did get reinstated today, so that's big for the Jaguars. And I think they did tag Evan Ingram, but I think that division is really up for grabs. Really,
So if
I
you
got
go
another.
to the Jets, you got the Patriots and the Bills, and then the Dolphins. Damn, man, why you want to do Jimmy G like that?
Hey, look, and also Carolina might be an option for Jimmy G as well. So it's another team
Also
you got to look
true.
out there.
Also
Yep.
true. That's something that A-Rod should be looking into. If he
Yeah.
wants out, maybe
Yeah.
stay there, but we'll see.
And
All
before we,
great.
yeah. And before we wrap up tonight's episode, let's talk about a quarterback that is with a new team already, and that quarterback being Derek Carr. So he officially signed with the New Orleans Saints. It looked like he was maybe going to be a Jet, but the media, New York media, might have, had something to do with it. New Orleans is a little bit more less profile than New York. So Derek's a New Orleans Saint now.
Let me ask.
Good signing.
I think it's a good signing, but let me ask you, Fidel. What are the New Orleans Saints getting out of Derek Carr? Can you please explain it to us?
Well, they're going to get a quarterback that's going to be on the field. He hardly misses any games. He's a tough quarterback. He's smart. New Orleans has some pieces around him that I think is going to help him, and I think they got a pretty good quarterback in Derek.
And they got a defense, something the Raiders have not had in quite some time.
Exactly.
I said this in our chat. I think if he goes there, top 5 team immediately in NFC. I guess now. Let's just see what happens in free
the entire conference. You're saying the entire conference.
As we speak right now, with Derek Carr, I think they're a top 5 team in the NFC. As we speak now.
How about a top 5 quarterback in the NFC?
Well, that's not saying much. The NFC quarterbacks are not that good. A lot of them, man.
That's why I'm asking you, and that's why I'm asking Fidel. Is Derek Carr right now a top 5 quarterback in the NFC? Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
All right. I can kind of.
If they can get the Michael Thomas situation figured out, bring him back. I heard they might cut him. I know Jarvis Landry is a free agent. Chris Olave. They got tight end Juwan Johnson, Alvin Kamara. His situation get handled. That defense with Denzel Allen always been good. So I mean, I think they'll be fine.
It's all good.
He went to the right. He went to the right division too.
I really do think that that's a perfect landing spot for Derek Carr. And like you said, that division is wide open. We saw Tom Brady, who, I don't know, is he retired or is he not retired? I don't get it anymore. He plays way too many mind games. But I will say this.
I heard he's babysitting a kitten or something like that. So I don't know.
Hey, well, that's what we love here on East West, man. So I want to say thank you for tuning in. Keep posted. Make sure you like and you subscribe here on East West Football. And then of course, we're gonna start posting some edits pretty soon. So make sure you share, subscribe, and like those edits too. But that's it for us. And tune in Sunday, right?
Yes, Sunday. We might have we plan on having a free agency frenzy show. Tune in to. I know NFL Network and all the other big networks are doing it. So why not join East West? But another thing before we let you go. We didn't talk about Geno Smith. He got a big deal by Seattle. He got re-signed. And DeAndre Hopkins, the trade rumors for DeAndre Hopkins are heating up. A lot of news going to be going on between now and next week. But we'll have you here Sunday to break down the latest.
Who is the other contract? Because that was a good contract. That Geno was 30. Oh, Derek Carr's contract was also like a 32 mil.
Mm-hmm.
2 great contracts. Not expected to be franchise guys. Not expected to be, facing all that scrutiny like the way Dak Prescott and all that stuff. So great contracts. Good thing. Like I said, if D-Hop gets traded, we're gonna be live. Okay, so you guys better tune in, man.
He might be coming to New England.
I saw him at with Des Bryant.
Yes, sir.
Yep. All right, guys, that's it for us. You guys have a good night and see